Welcome back to the channel. We brought the Liberty back in the garage from Winter Wonderland. Now we can focus on putting those rear fender flares on. Get you up to speed, we just installed those front JK fender flares last month on the 2003? Yeah. I get all my Jeeps mixed up. I don't know what years they are. 2003 Jeep Liberty. If you haven't seen that video, maybe go check that video out first and then come back and we'll show you the rear. But if you are caught up to speed and you have seen the video of the JK front fenders, now it's time to focus on the rear. So I pulled that panel off already, that plastic fender flare. Honestly, it was quite easy, and just off it goes. But now we gotta figure out how we're gonna make the fender flare like the JK look good on the back of the KJ. So first off, let's finish ripping the plastic off and mock up the new steel JK fender flares on the Liberty. Well, we just encountered an issue. We got a broken disc and no new disc. Those are for 4s. This is a 4.5. And these are the ones I kept, thank God. Because we need to cut the fender back here. And we need to cut a little bit of this bumper so we can mock up the new fender flare. We pulled the lining out of here, the inner fender lining, and we unwrapped the new fender flare. See what we can get done with those leftover cutoff wheels, because I'm not going anywhere. It is a winter storm out there, and yeah. So let's do some cutting with some used cutoff disc. Well, here's what the fender looks like. Looks like we're gonna have to do quite a bit of work on the front end here, similar to what we did with the front. So I plan on keeping the back of this flare right now and not change any of the angle finagle. But I can't really mock the fender up right now because there's just too much fender from the Liberty. This is just bulged out too much for me to set that up there and start mocking the fender flare. So my plan of attack is to cut this lip here Gonna come with the grinder through here, cut this lip off all the way through here and down through here, and then we can start cutting some slits in here to do the cut and fold. Let's cut that lip off. Well, we're doing stuff. We're doing the cut and fold. So we're just cutting slits here with the angle grinder, and then we're folding them. So we've cut all the way through here. I kind of used the inner fender, or I guess the inner door here for my radius to come up through. So that's how high I'm going. And you guys can do it the way you want to do it. You can cut and fold, you can not cut and fold and just cut up those flares a little bit and try to mount them. But I'm trying to open the wheel well a little bit to match the front. I'll show you what the folds look like here. Just taking the hammer and just folding them in. The inner fender is going to show us some extra tabs because they're really not folding in very well, but once we fold the outer fender, or the outer fender, so we're just folding these in, and then this is the inner fender here, but we'll just come back and cut off the access, and then we'll just putty this in with some seam sealer, similar to kind of what's going on here. So I'll get the hammer in here, and then I'll bring you back to kind of show you what it looks like. All right, we got most of this taken care of as far as the cutting and the hammering. We got this guy here, pretty much well taken care of. We'll do a little trimming before we put the seam sealer on. I'll show you what I did over on the back side, a little different plan here. So right here, we got quite the gap. As we cut and fold here, kind of scared that this gap's gonna be too much. I've done this before. So we'll just cut a little access off of here, then we'll fold these in, and then fold this one on top of that one while they're in there. And then they're both folded in to fill the gap. Well, check it out. Not bad. You know, it doesn't look too hot on camera, but it's all cut, it's all folded. We got a big old wheel well now, and we can put that fender flare on there. Didn't flatten this hump out too much. Trim that fender flare quite a bit to get over that contour there. But a little seam sealer, a little buffing and paint, and that fender will be good enough. Well, we'll have to do that in the morning because I did run out of cutoff wheels. So back at this tomorrow, we'll try to get that fender flare mounted up on this Liberty. Well, we're back at it. Got some fresh cutting disc, and now we can, well, I already did it. I trimmed the door. I'm gonna have to put some seam sealer on there. It kind of splits the door Not enough where it's like expanded, but we're gonna put some seam sealer on there, and it's actually pretty sharp. Already had to put a garage band-aid on, magical electrical tape. But here's the door, we trimmed it. See there's a gap there, but I think some seam sealer will fill that in. You could also fill it in with some tack welds, but really there's a lot of structure here yet, so I think we could just get away with some seam sealer. But it looks pretty good. The lines look good with a bigger opening now. And clean this up a little bit more, so then we can just apply the seam sealer here as well and paint it up, and I think that'll look good. So I think we're gonna focus on getting this flare on. I'm not sure if I want to go all the way back here, because I am gonna put a steel bumper someday. I think for now we'll just come all the way down, trim this vent up a little bit. I think we're gonna have to trim a lot of that fender flare too to get it tucked up in here nice. Not a big deal, just do a lot more cutting. Also, section fender flare right there, as you can see, the door we'll have to open. Our flare goes in to the door. So let's just focus on the back half, do some cutting, some mocking, and we'll get that KJ fender flare on this Liberty. All right, guys and gals, check out my artwork. Oh yeah, did a little arts and crafts. We'll take that template off and we will apply it to the back half of that fender flare and do some cutting. Well, this is exciting. We got the back half of that fender flare mounted on the Liberty. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that's looking good, my friends. It's fitting up in there real nice. Got it mocked up with one of the bolts that are provided with the fender flare when you buy them. The rivet nuts. I use that tool to put that the hole that was actually in there already. Now we need to mock up the fender flare on the door, which is actually going to be quite challenging. Well, here we go. More arts and crafts. Now we can throw that on the front half of the fender flare. Well, here's the challenging part. I just took our little arts and crafts off the Jeep. Look how far that fender is off, that fender flare. So this is all right up here. This is where the door sits. Come in here, good angle. And then all of a sudden on the Liberty, it drops significantly compared to the JK. So flipping the fender flare around on this side, yeah, that puts it in perspective, doesn't it? We'll leave these two welds and then we'll just hack these all off, and then maybe we can be able to section some of this to get that bend. So we'll do that. Well, we have split the fender flare. Boing, boing, boing. This fender flare is throwing us another curve. I'll show you. I flattened out that kind of bent area, but now it's really doesn't match up. See, there's like, it was curved probably for the JK fender, but now it won't line up as we flatten that area out with the hammer on the vise. We got the template back on, so let's just mark it and see if we can get this bend to fit, and then we can put the access back on the bottom here. Well, the curveballs keep coming. I'll show you what we got. We got it mocked up on the door side. There's a lot of work ahead of us. I'll catch you up to speed. There it is. I put one of those rivet nuts in there to mock this up, similar to what we did in the rear. But we got a lot of work here. These guys don't want to line up. Still can bring this one down. Bring that down and notch that little hole out. So we can come down with this a little bit yet to line that guy up. And then in here, so the door comes out. Same in here, so I had to notch it, bend it out, notch it, bend it in. Quite a bit of a gap here on this side. Remember I was talking earlier on the JK that has that bend in here, and we flatten that area out, so I'll put another rivet nut here, make a hole and drill one here so we can bend the fender flare and maybe throw a tack weld in there. Start filling some gaps. So quite a bit more work left on this fender flare. We'll keep after it. Well, we got the wheel back, the wheel and tire back on, and the seam sealer in. Doesn't look too bad. It's not too bad, and it's gonna be good enough for this project. So by cutting and folding the fender there, I was just sitting back looking. I was thinking, man, it wouldn't look too bad if a guy just plug welded these holes in here. With the cut and fold going on, you might not even need the JK fender flare. You might look good enough without it. So that's an option for you guys if you don't want to get too far into this build doing the JK fenders, but you want to do the front ones. Well, we need to find a piece to fill in this bottom end here. And check out this one that we've cut off already. The holes line right up. We got the door side mocked up, but we have had to cut and section it, bend it, cut it some more, section it, and cut it some more, and drill some holes. So if you've made it this long in the video, this project might not be for you, because it has become quite the project. I have a few hours into the project already. So if you're going into this project and you want to mount these JK fenders on the back of your KJ, no. Well, and if you want it to look halfway decent, there's going to be a lot of work involved. And it might be better if you just build your own from scratch. And again, if you are watching this video and you haven't watched the video on the front fender flares, that project at the time looked like it was a lot of work, but I love the results, and then they look great on the Liberty. So if you're gonna buy the kit, it comes with the fronts and it comes with the rear, so you can decide where you want to go from there. The backs are sticking out a little bit farther than I'd like. We are gonna clean them up, but I'm telling you now, we got quite a bit of work yet with filling this gap here, and we had to bend here and add that piece and pie section this out. We'll cut this down, clean it up to fit that door. Kind of thinking of supporting it somehow with some angle iron so we can get this up. We gotta fill a hole yet. So let's keep grinding, cutting, and welding to make these fender flares look like they belong on the Liberty. So I'm thinking about cutting this little piece of L off this scrap I got laying around for that door side. Let me show you. Here we go. So we got that door seam here. So this kind of fills in that little gap that we had to make to cut the fender flare. There she be. A lot of cleaning up, a lot of welding, more grinding and cutting, more grinding and cutting. But now I'll match this piece on this side, so we'll have some support. So cut this off, rinse and repeat, do this side, you know, more welding and grinding. Well, this project hasn't been going the best, but I'm really liking what we just did here. The door fitment. It's 2 pieces of angle that we put in there. Check that out. That looks good. I mean, we still got a lot of work to do here, but so I count that as a success. It's completed. We completed the fender flares on the back of the Liberty. The project ended up being quite involved, but the end result is exactly what we're looking for. The front fender flares now match the rear. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time.